This podcast has been brought to you by Voyager's World. We are building the most amazing hospitality network. Please visit our website, join us for free, and start participating.
Alright, so here I have Matthieu Kerchove. You got me by surprise with your name, I thought. So it's Flemish.
It's Flemish.
Cool.
You don't find it anywhere else in the world.
So you're Belgian,
Yes.
right? And we are in Montenegro. What's the name of this village here?
This village is called Potkraj, but there are only 3 houses. 3, me and my 2 neighbors. So
But that nearest village
it's
over there.
Virpazar.
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 Yeah. Amazing area here, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
I love it.
It's beautiful.
That's why
It's beautiful. I'm going to include some photos on the video of this, this area. I like to take photos and pick photos from Facebook because as I do the video in a way that is, it's a little improvised. I do it on location, so every time is a little different. Sometimes there are imperfections in the video, and then that's where I put the photos, So I cover all the imperfections with photographs. But yesterday we arrived here. It was a very cool story already. The coordinates that Matthieu gave us were when you give coordinates for the GPS, they are very precise, right? It's like in degrees and minutes and seconds and all that. His coordinates were precisely wrong. So we end up on top of the hill and then a mile the other way. But we talked to this family, we knock on a door and talk to this family, and they were so surprised to see us. But then they called someone that called someone else, and this guy came over with a car, and then he called someone that happened to be Matthew's neighbor, right? So we end up here. Anyway, that was already a very good start. And then last night we spent some 3 hours at least drinking wine and beer and talking. And I discovered that Matthieu actually has an amazing story. As you did some pretty cool stuff, and I decided to share that with people. So let's start with your elevator speech, like in 20 seconds. Tell us a story, and then I'm going to dig into it.
So it kicked off when I was 17. My 17 or 18, my friends went to ski in the Alps, the French Alps, and I wanted to walk to their ski resort. So I set off 1 month before they set it off with their car, and I used compass. I had to walk 142 degrees out of north from my house to their ski resort. So I went so straight as possible through forest, fields, everything. So
jumping fences and going through fields.
Yes.
Trespassing on other people's properties. Then after that, what?
After that, what did I do? I crossed the Pyrenees shortly after that, walking. That was close to 2 months. Then I heard a story about a brother of my grandfather. He was a cyclist. He cycled in many parts of the world in the late 60s, early 70s. So I saw his dias. Dias, it's like, dia, like picture? A dia?
Diary. Like a photo album?
It's like with a camera and you picture it on the wall.
Like
slides. So I came across 3,000 of his slides of his travels, and then I decided buy a bicycle, my own, and I started traveling by bicycle.
Cool. Um, so where did you go by bicycle?
There.
Where did you go by bicycle?
First, I did some smaller trips in Europe to Gibraltar and around Europe, and then
So Belgium to Gibraltar.
yes,
That's already all Europe, right? From north to south.
yeah,
It's all continental Europe.
mhm.
All right. Then after that.
uh, yeah, and
Mhm.
then I did my big trip
Mhm.
from Belgium to China
Uh-huh.
cycling,
Yeah.
which was a very nice experience.
Those long trips caught my attention a lot because few people do it. Some people will take the bike and spend a week, but very few will really commit to something like that. Not in my opinion, not because it's too difficult physically. Physically, riding for a week is already difficult. But the problem is that setting up your life, to adjust your life
Hmm.
to be able to stay on the road for months at a time, that is much more complicated. Because now that means you're going to have to change your job or not have a job, or you need to save, or
Yeah,
somehow you will not be able to be just working, or at least your work will have to be remote. And if it is remote, you run into the challenge of getting online at regular intervals. You need to be online sometimes for a
hmm,
meeting. Um, Even when I am traveling, I need to be sometimes thinking, okay, that day I need to have access to internet,
hmm.
to do certain things. So what was your solution, and how did you? Because how long have you been traveling?
Well, it's 5, 6 years now,
Mm-hmm.
like being away most of the time.
Most of
Yeah.
away from Belgium, right?
Mhm.
So what was your solution, your method to pay
I
for this?
working so much as possible and
Mm-hmm.
earning so much as possible money in such a short
Mm-hmm.
as possible amount of time. I was
Mm-hmm.
always, if I was in Belgium, I
Mm-hmm.
put it the hours in and
Mm-hmm.
saved so much as possible to travel. But I travel very cheap. My
Mm-hmm.
budget was normally 5, 6 euros a day.
Uh-huh.
So that's camping,
Yeah,
cooking your own food, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yesterday we stopped in somewhere in Bosnia, and we bought food for lunch to eat on the road. So we bought some nice breads and yogurt, and we had some dips and things like that. It was very cool, and we sit on a on a bench by a park, and we had a super nice lunch by the motorcycle, watching people walk by. Nice, we have some birds here. Watching some people, and I asked Ola, how much did you spend to buy this? She said, oh, €3.50.
Hmm.
So we had a very nice lunch with a beautiful view of the ocean, and then there was
Hmm.
a park behind us, and for €3,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it,
it's
it, it
cheap
doesn't,
here.
yeah, it doesn't cost much. um, I used to do that in even like in Germany, France. When I went there, we were spending like €4 or €5, to buy the food and
Hmm.
make some nice sandwiches and things like that, and
Yes.
and eat outside. Now, if you go to a restaurant, then it's a different story.
Hmm.
That's when the money rolls fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So, but when you start, for some people it's something abrupt. They something happened to their life and they decide to hit the road. For other people it's very gradual. you know so how was that for you? You mentioned that the first trip they went to the ski resort, you went by compass,
Yeah.
right? That suggests that you were already interested in bushcraft or in
Yes.
navigation and things
Hmm.
like that. So how did that start?
Yeah, just interest and
Hmm.
wanting to do something not a lot of other people do. That's like yeah, doing the, if it's possible to do it the hard way, I prefer it to do it the hard way instead of the easy way. I don't, yeah, it satisfies me much more if I achieved something like a nice rough trip where I suffered a bit. I love it.
Uh, that trip to China,
Hmm.
when you mention that to people, does it have that effect that in my case I don't like, that then people want to talk only about that?
Hmm.
Do you feel like that? Like sometimes I hesitate to tell about certain trips that I do, and I wait a little bit. I never bring it up because otherwise people just want to talk about that.
Hmm.
You know, uh, is that the case with China?
Uh, my friends in Belgium are,
Mhm,
they are not used to it, not used to
mhm,
traveling, and so
mhm.
they don't really know which questions they
Uh,
have to ask. They
uh,
just think I'm crazy and I will die, but they don't ask
mhm.
like too many
Are
questions.
you
Or
crazy?
probably, and most people will say I'm a bit crazy, but
Uh-huh.
it's nice. I like it that way.
Yeah,
It's much more interesting to have than having the normal life,
yeah,
job, wife, and kids.
yeah. A friend of mine that I shot a podcast with him a few weeks ago. He has this T-shirt that says "unemployable,"
Hmm.
and I thought, wow, that was the most interesting, most
Yes.
perfect description that we are unemployable. I mean, we do work, of course, we do jobs occasionally, but when you get a job, you don't you have that in your mind already from the beginning that it's temporary,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
You get it already knowing, okay, I'll do this
Hmm.
for a month, for 2 months, and make as much money as
Yes.
possible.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yes.
Oh, by the way, tell us again. That's the about the picking grapes
Ah, in
in
France.
Yeah. Well, how was that?
Yeah, that was on my trip to Gibraltar.
Uh
When
huh.
I cycled to Gibraltar, I decided to pick grapes in France
Uh
and
huh.
Lyon. It's the Beaujolais
Uh huh.
region. So yeah, beautiful experience. I met a lot of very nice people,
Uh huh.
other
So
travelers, and
what was it like? 6 hours a day?
6 hours a day working,
Yeah.
and then nice food in the evening, a lot of wine,
Hmm.
campfire,
So you
and
so you got how much they pay you there?
€50 a day.
So you got €50 a day plus place to sleep
Accommodation,
and food.
food, nice food, like not something
It's French food, right?
French
So
food
it's
is.
good stuff,
Hmm.
and plus you're meeting a bunch of different people, right?
Yeah,
It feels like a hostel, right?
yeah.
Feels like
Oh,
being in a
it's
hostel,
yes,
all right?
it's very nice.
And how do you get a gig like this? If someone is traveling and they want to do a few weeks in France,
Hmm.
how do they find this?
I think the easiest way will be just
Hmm.
check it out on online,
Hmm.
and these days you have to book like your place to.
Hmm.
You can also go and ask door to door, but
Uh-huh.
it's not guaranteed you will find
Yeah. Uh-huh.
somebody who wants to take you in. And
Yeah.
so I did it online, which was easy, and
Uh-huh.
yeah.
I have friends that they do something similar, but on boats. So
Hmm.
they travel the world, crewing on boats. And if you're qualified, if you have some experience, and you start getting online, and you find
Yeah.
you just cannot be too picky about the boat. Sometimes it's a little more luxurious, but other times it's more basic boat.
Hmm.
But you get to places, you travel. It's usually in passage because a lot of these yachts they go for spring and summer. They go to the Caribbean,
Hmm.
but then around September they have to get out because no, in August, because September the hurricane season starts.
Yeah.
So they have to be out of there, or they have to be in a very protected place. So most of them will then sail to the Mediterranean. So that means you do an Atlantic crossing, and they need people to do this move. Um, and then they go back in like January. They sail back to the Caribbean. So there is a flow of boats that way. Um, I know a sailor that he does a lot of deliveries, new boat deliveries, and he told me that the places to find a boat to crew are Fort Lauderdale is a major center for that. The other is the Azores Islands. The other is Cape Town in South Africa, because those are the transit most popular transit routes for pleasure boats. And nothing increases your chances of getting getting to crew a boat. Nothing is better than being a cook. Because when a captain is choosing a crew, finding people that can handle the sailing itself is relatively simple. Even if you don't know it, if I am the captain, I can tell you what to do and explain to you, right? But I cannot teach you to cook during the trip, and not a lot of people do it. It gets very monotonous if you only have one cook and he only knows how to do potatoes and salad, right? So how's life here, man? What are you doing?
I'm preparing to start a business, a small bushcraft-based tourist business. Something I would like to do to show people how beautiful nature is and what the possibilities are to how to enjoy it. Because it gets.
What are you going to be teaching in bushcraft? When someone comes over here, what it is that they are going to do?
The thing I want to do is how we have Skadar Lake, quite a big and very beautiful lake. So I want to organize multiple day trips by canoe, camping out on the lake, and show people some edible plants and how to carve a spoon or how to make a fire properly, how to cook on a fire.
We have some spoons here in different stages of production, like very early stage, like about halfway through, then like this, and let me show you this one here. This is like what I call the drunk spoon or drunk spatula.
I call it a festival spatula.
Festival spatula. That's nice. Yeah, this is very cool. This is interesting. Cool, man. I always make a little bit of fun of the bushcraft schools.
I don't want a school. I want bushcraft based. I don't want to teach.
You don't want to be just teaching, But I always make a little bit of fun of it, even though I respect I respect that craft, that knowledge very much. If there's a zombie apocalypse, you're the one that will survive.
I don't know.
But I always make fun of learning to make fire. So I always say, we are not going to run out of lighters. That will never happen. Even if we stop making lighters, there will still be lighters for centuries. Some people have Zippos that are like a 50-year-old Zippos, and they still work. So educate me. Why should I learn to make a fire?
Just a very nice skill to have, to be able to make a fire without a lighter. can always happen. You forgot your lighter, or it doesn't work. It's
Now, if you go to the woods, you forgot your lighter, you deserve to die. That's it.
yes.
Your DNA should not propagate anymore.
I will go to the woods on purpose without the lighter, just to train myself, because our ancestors did it every day, making a fire. So it's nice to preserve that knowledge.
Yesterday we were talking around a tiny fire. I have a little citronella candle, and that already was pretty cool. But making a fire is even nicer. Um, I think that the knowledge of bushcraft is very easy to get now. With YouTube, you can see how to do anything, how to make a fire, how to keep the fire all night, and all that. But there is a difference between knowing how to do it and having the experience. Like knowledge you can get on YouTube, but the wisdom you only get after you did it in real life, right? So a trip like this can be a very good environment, to put those things in practice, to feel how it is to be out there and having to solve the problems. And I think that the best way to do it is in the presence of someone that has that experience a lot. So you can try, and when things don't work, you have someone that can show you what you are doing wrong, and you move forward. So I would recommend a trip like this. But I would even recommend, go to YouTube and learn there first. Learn everything that you want to do, and come in with all the theory in your mind, so you can put that in practice.
And then you have to get out.
Then you have to get out and really get dirty. Especially like backpacking, for example. In theory, backpacking is an easy, awesome thing. In practice, it can be tough. Sometimes it gets really tough.
That's the beauty of it, I think.
Yeah, and you don't really know how tough or easy or nice it's going to be. It's surprising enough. And I do fast packing, which is backpacking but in high speed. So you jog most of the time, or at least you walk fast. It's becoming popular as a style of traveling. So you use a smaller backpack and much more compact gear, and you go fast. So if you're doing a trail that normally you would walk it in a month, fast packing, you expect to do that in half that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put a lot of miles, but it's brutal. It can take a lot of energy. Do you like the walking sticks thing? Do you use that?
Not here, no. Sometimes I just make a stick from tree, a branch, but generally I don't use walking
What is that called? It's staff. It's called a staff.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't use it in fast packing, and I think it's cool to explain why. The walking sticks are a brace. That's what they are. They are helping. It's a resource that is helping your body to not get so tired. They help you with your balance. A staff will help. Especially if you are in uphill, downhill, helps with your balance. But it also takes a little bit of the load from your knees. You're using your arms. You get your arms a little tired, but it takes some of the load, and especially for people that didn't walk a lot in their life, and they are trying, doing some pilgrimage or something like that. Their knees will suffer a lot. So any effort that you take away from the knees is welcome, right? So it's a very good trade. But fast packing, I discovered that in my case, my knees don't suffer as much as my back does, and especially backpacking with with a small backpack that will still that I'm trying to jog with it. The effort on the back is very intense. So I use a back brace. Um, to me, it's much more. It gives me much more benefit than the walking sticks or a staff. Uh, and when I did the my pilgrimage across America, the difference was clear. Um, I finished the day with my back much more relaxed, no back pain, and also the brace covers it's pretty wide on the back, and it's cover exactly the area where the backpack will be supporting. You know, a lot of the weight will be around your waist, and exactly that part is protected. So instead of distributing the most of the weight of the backpack just around your waist, it's doing that but over an even larger area. So the comfort level is much better.
Yeah.
You know, doing that, and in a several weeks, you know, being on the road, yeah, it makes an incredible difference.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to do fast packing because I don't like to go fast if I'm in the mountains or something. I like to check everything out.
Yeah.
An animal or
When I was asking myself if I would enjoy doing that way before I did it. I ended up liking it because when I see anything that calls my attention, yeah, I stop and, you know, you are on foot anyway, you know, so I stop and look at things, especially in the desert. I love to look at the colors and, you know, I have a certain fascination with deserts. So I would stop and just look at it, occasionally photograph. I'm not too much into photography. Um, I used to, but I lost my appetite for it because I feel that if I am in a place that is amazing and I am there looking at the place through the phone, you know, this is distracting me from enjoying, right? So it is a distraction. I don't want to get to the point where people ask me, "Oh, so how was Montenegro?" So I don't know. Let me see the photos. You know, like I don't want to feel that way. So just sometimes I take a photo.
Yeah, for me, pictures are like my souvenirs. I like to take pictures, but of course, if there is a beautiful moment, I will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not like
leave. Enjoy the moment first. Then before you leave, take a photo. Yes. You know, but enjoy it. Many times I see people, they get to a place that is amazing, and let's say they are there in front of it for 3 minutes. Those 3 minutes they spend taking photos and taking selfies, which is, you know, you know, in my perverse dreams, sometimes I imagine myself beating a tourist with a rusty selfie stick. You know, motherfucker, no, don't do this. You know, those are my violent fantasies. So, you know, taking selfies but then they didn't actually look at it. You know, they didn't really spend any time just like looking and thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking about nothing particular.
Yes, it's crazy how people behave.
Yeah. Even like sometimes I notice kids being like overbooked, right? People overbook their kids. You have to go to the go to the soccer play now, and then you have the school for this, and then you have a play date with your friends, and then you have to do this other thing. So they have their entire day scheduled. They don't have any time to like just go out to the backyard with a stick, you know, and go, you know, poke a hole on the ground with a stick. Just that, which means doing nothing, right? But that doing nothing has an incredible value. Yes. You know, he learns to connect with that environment, yes, right? Of course. Yeah, and kids do that naturally if you just let them.
Yes.
You know, you don't need to tell them. I think that it's lost. And when I was a kid, I was raised in an apartment. Or when we moved into a house, I was indoors most of the time. I was an indoors carpet kid. All right. Uh, but then when my mother married again, her second husband was an outdoors guy. Like he was a professional soccer player, and he liked to hunt. So, and I was a teenager still, and he would take us to go to the woods and hunt. And in the beginning, trust me, I hated that. I thought that was the stupidest thing ever. I wanted to be home and playing video game, right? Uh, but later, gradually, it became interesting.
Yes.
It became interesting. I started to like camping very gradually. What I didn't like was that uh, our equipment, all the stuff that we had was very primitive. So everything was heavy and bulky, right? And I knew already at that time, because I saw magazines or on TV, I knew that there was much more compact and efficient stuff like nice sleeping bags, right? And we used to bring a bundle of blankets, you know, and some plastic tarps and stuff like that. Uh, so I knew that there was better equipment, and I never developed the patience to understand that that's what we could afford at that time. Um, but I was liking to hunt.
Yeah.
Didn't do much of it, but I like it. Uh, I have a tremendous respect for hunting now.
Yeah, if they do it in like civilized way. How I have.
Yeah,
Yeah. How I don't like the.
it can be done in a respectful way.
Yes,
and
of course.
and then it's beautiful.
But
And
like in Central Asia, they had a snow leopard,
uh-huh,
and people were also hunting one of the most beautiful wildcats,
uh-huh.
and that's great. It's almost gone, that species, and
Yeah,
people want to
they're
shoot
still
them.
they're
Yeah,
still shooting them. Yeah,
yeah, they should be shot.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, hunting an animal into extinction is not respectful.
No.
And to me, the word is that respectful.
Mhm.
You know, that means you give it time to procreate and maintain their numbers. That is, so there are times of the year that you don't hunt a certain animal, and when you shoot an animal, you shoot to kill. No, you don't hurt an animal and let it go. No, you don't do that. And whatever you kill, you eat.
Yes.
You know, just those three rules alone make it very nice. And you're not going to overdo it. You have to carry it. You're not going to kill an animal that you cannot carry back. If you follow these rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I'm very, very fascinated with this place. Montenegro is underdeveloped still.
Yes,
Yeah.
it goes slowly, but
Yeah, but
something
it's
is
very
changing.
clean, very nice. The geography is beautiful.
It's an amazing country. Beautiful. Yeah, I love it. So it's very diverse. The north and the south of Montenegro. They have rainforest in the north. They have Durmitor National Park, high mountains, Skadar Lake. Yes, a bit of everything.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people, so still you can't find a lot of wild places.
Yeah, you look very beautiful. When we got in yesterday, I was noticing that like going along the coast, usually coastline is overdeveloped. That traffic and buildings one next to the other, and and shops and restaurants and bullshit all the way. And now here it's still it feels like It feels like this looks more or less like maybe the French Riviera used to look in the 50s, you know, or in the 60s. That it's still sparse. You have a lot of green, and then you have like one restaurant,
Yeah.
then a lot of green, and then a building with something, you know. And so there are these spaces that are still not done. But and the road is fine. The road going through that, it's okay.
They are selling off a lot of the coast to rich Russians.
Uh-huh.
So I'm a bit afraid that the coast will become like building.
Yeah. Yeah. And in a country like this that is so that is still underdeveloped, it's also underregulated. So when they build it wrong.
Yes,
You know?
of course.
So they are going to do it.
It's corrupt Montenegro. If you pay the right amount of money to somebody, you can do whatever you want.
Do anything you want.
No
Yes.
questions asked.
Yeah, that's the sad part. When we were riding the coast of Croatia, I love it. The coast of Croatia is beautiful, and it is not underdeveloped, but it's also not crowded. Yeah, but you can tell that it was done kind of right, you know, carefully.
Croatia,
you know, they have some good standards of how to build, how to space things apart, or how to keep everything clean. And so you notice that it has that quality of being very nicely done, but still with lower costs. You know, it doesn't cost nearly as much as Italy, France. You know, that coast. Now about rescue in case of being in the wild. Yeah.
I like. It's of course it. How do I say that in English? I don't really like all those things. I know it can save your life, but I'm more the one who goes.
Yeah. We were talking about tracking services like Spot that I used a little bit when I was doing my first run in America. But then later I noticed that I didn't need it, you know, because I was within cell phone signal all the time. But sometimes people go to places that are very remote, you know, and in fact, chances are that nothing bad will happen, you know, ever. You know, statistically speaking, you'll be fine, you know. Yeah. But that is those few exceptions, you know, and it's nice to have a device that if you press the button. Yes, I was going to ask you to move a little bit. That if you press the button, someone will come and rescue. You know.
How much does it cost? Like you have to.
The service is like $100 per year, something like that, just to have the signal, right? But then some other services are optional, like you can have insurance that will cover the cost of transport, because in some countries they'll charge you for that. You know, if you are in America, it can run into the tens of thousands of dollars. You know, to be taken to a hospital. Of course, you want to have that service because it's your ass on the line now. But you don't want the bill later, so they sell insurance for that. And in some countries, they will do all that for free.
Yeah, and for you. Sure, in Western Europe, it would be for free.
Nice coffee, man. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, there are several services that do that, via satellite, and it's usually very small equipment, very compact. I would say that I advise to use it if people are going into a very remote place. I recommend. But if they are going to, or they can do like you do. You prefer to not use it. You take your chances, but it's still those chances are still not bad. It's not like you are taking an incredible risk. Also, safety is not a binary thing. Um, Safety is the combination of everything you do and everything you want, everything you know and everything you do. So there are some chances that you will have an incident on trail or in the woods one day. But the fact that you know so much about animals and you know how to recognize and you know where to look for, that experience
Yes.
improves your chances dramatically, right? So I advise that people have a device that helps them, but that is no substitute to getting the experience, the knowledge,
Yes.
and the wisdom. It's the same with the motorcycles. People say, "Oh, you have to wear a helmet," and I like to ride without a helmet, right? But I see these guys riding motorcycles with the helmet and all the safety equipment and all that. And yesterday I saw a guy on the road passing in a place that was really not a good idea. Like he was going blind, passing the cars. And I thought, he has all the safety equipment, but he doesn't have the most important, which is a good decision pattern.
That's typical Montenegrin style.
Yeah.
They don't know how to drive anything.
Yeah, exactly. So the guy didn't, he had all the safety equipment and he didn't have the safety attitude, and if it doesn't help to have safety equipment to protect you from an accident that you caused, by the lack of wisdom. So I like, in the case of motorcycles, I tend to ride very carefully, and I have a nice, a pretty good record, So for the entire, Andrew is not going to to like this, but I'll make fun of him a little bit because he keeps talking to me about this, my friend Andrew, and he keeps saying, "Oh, you have to wear a helmet and all that." But as far as I know, so far he got into the hospital once. So he got into the hospital once. I think he broke his arm, something like that, and he was in bad shape. Had to be get a ride back to Ukraine, and that didn't happen to me. Knock on wood, right? But so far his record is 1 accident. My record is 0, right? So 1 divided by 0 is infinite. So that means that so far he is infinitely worse driver than I am. but yeah, use the equipment and the devices that you feel like using, but have a good attitude first.
I don't like to cycle with a helmet as well. Most cyclists have a helmet, but I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I prefer to be completely dead than 95% dead, so I don't wear one.
I just think that there are some things that I love more than life. To me, there are some things that are more important. That there is a pleasure in doing certain things in a way that safety is not everything. Safety is important. It's part of the equation, but safety is not everything. Sometimes you have to take a little risk. You have to be exposed. And yeah, one day I may regret these very words on this side of the road, bleeding. It may happen, but it may not happen too.
Yeah.
It's like eating well to live longer. To me, that's one of the silliest ideas ever. Only white Western people can think that way. No, you don't. You don't know that the chances that life is too random. You can be killed by a flying mailbox one day. It's too random. Like I mentioned the flying mailbox because I have a friend that he's an ER surgeon, and one day he saw a guy come into the hospital with a mailbox, with the pole of the mailbox stuck through his body, that he flew in during a tornado. and the guy got hit and he died. So he said, maybe this guy didn't smoke and didn't drink and didn't eat crap, to save himself to live longer. He gets killed by a mailbox,
Yeah,
So it's
enjoy.
it's
That's
random.
the
Now
most
I
important.
believe in eating well because it makes you live better today. You are lighter, you feel better, you have better energy today. You are healthier now, not because it will make you healthier in an hypothetical 80-year-old age, that you have no clue if you're going to get there.
Yeah.
But it makes you feel better today. Or you can do like Keith Richards, take all the drugs and smoke and drink all the time and live to be 300. I don't know. That guy is going to survive us all, I guess. So no, not too much into that. So you went to tell me more about China. What did you see along the way? What was
Like about China or about
the trip to China? Getting there, between Belgium and China.
Yeah, so I went through Europe, which is quite basic. The normal stuff happens, but then
That's something that only an European will say.
but then after Turkey was nice, Bulgaria, more Eastern Europe, I really enjoyed. Turkey was nice. Nothing. Became very sick in Turkey for 5 days.
What happened there?
They had floods, and I drank water from a tap, and probably the system was a bit fucked up. So.
Did you see these new UV things to clean the water?
Yes.
Have you used that?
No.
No? I want to buy one now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's such a great idea because you can get any water and you just point the light at it and kills everything.
I believe in boiling. That's still the cheapest and.
I like technology in that sense.
Yeah.
Just point the thing and and it tells it even detects if there is anything alive and tells you that okay, this was enough.
Yeah.
Because as long as everything is dead, it's just fine.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Everything is dead.
Yeah.
You can drink it.
So you got sick in Turkey.
Yes, like very, very badly. Like a couple of nights it was.
You thought that was it?
No, but just you have to get out of your tent every half an hour. Shit, puke, everything. Like,
wow.
But yes, I'm still alive. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then Turkey, I went to Georgia. Georgia was really the most friendly people I met in my life, I think, live in Georgia.
I keep hearing that. Several people already told me that the Georgians were the most friendly people. And in my experience, the most friendly people to me so far have been the Ukrainians. And the Ukrainians keep saying that the Georgians are the most friendly people. So it must be true.
Yeah, it's beautiful country, beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy. I'm sure I will go back one day.
Mm-hmm. I'm very curious about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where the food is very nice. Yeah,
I agree.
And then I went from Georgia through Russia. Most people go south, they go through Iran, but I wanted to go the other way, so Russia. Then into Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan was a different experience. It's just desert.
Yeah, more than half of it is desert, right?
Yeah, probably 80% is desert. Probably more even. But people are nice. I met a lot of crazy Kazakhstan people. I bet a lot of vodka, smoking weed. They were really.
They also do like this over there. They do this gesture. Yeah, it's in the entire Russian world. They do like this.
And this is weed.
Huh?
If you want to smoke weed, then they do.
Then they do like this.
Yes.
Okay, so it's this. Do you know this gesture? It's 3 fingers.
No.
No. It is from Soviet times. That a bottle of vodka was 3 rubles. So if they were friends together, someone would do like this, like let's put 3 rubles together to buy a bottle of vodka. So, and I tested. I went to a biker event, and I would look at people and I would do like this, and they would say, go like. Yeah, go ahead. We have Ola here with us too.
Sometimes I want to put question. There is a saying, "Бразим на троих," and it means that let's figure out on 3 persons. Like 2 would never go and drink. It's not considered as. It's just like alcoholics would drink alone, and then if 2, it's kind of boring. And then if you go for 3, like let's share for 3 persons, then it's the company. And then it's you enjoy the drinking and the conversation. And perhaps 3 rubles as well.
Yeah.
Because then you have 1 and 1 you share.
Yeah, one
together.
1 ruble each, yes.
Yeah. So that is also from the old times.
Yeah.
I cannot do a very convincing Russian accent. I do a convincing Russian accent to Americans because they don't really know how the Russian accent is. But here I just sound silly. But I noticed that if you learn the gestures, you look and sound much more Russian. Like you do like this, or you say when you have something important to say, you say "oh," and then you say it. Like you do the "oh." So that is a very Russian gesture, right? And it, like. You have an idea, then you are talking about something. Oh,
but you haven't been to Russia.
I haven't been to Russia.
You landed in Ukraine, and you're still keeping saying everything Russian.
But I do because I don't. Maybe being from Ukraine, you tend to think of things more as Ukraine, right? But not being from there, I think of the Russian world a lot. I understand that Ukraine is separate. I'm not confusing Ukraine with Russia. But when I'm talking about the Russian world, I'm thinking Kazakhstan, I'm thinking Georgia, I'm thinking the entire area, and then there is this variety, of course, of lifestyles and all the things, but they have a lot in common as well. So sometimes when I'm talking Russia, I'm not talking about the country Russia, I'm talking about the Russian world, or pretty much about the Soviet world. Very often.
Yes.
So Georgia was friendly.
Yes, Georgia was amazing.
So Georgia, Kazakhstan, then after that?
In Kazakhstan, when did you went to that beautiful canyon on the southeast?
Close to
It's
Almaty.
amazing, yes.
No.
That's why you missed the good part of Kazakhstan.
I know. But I went to Kyrgyzstan, so I'm sure Kyrgyzstan, yes.
You know what we know about Kazakhstan Kazakhstan in America is the stereotypes that we saw in the movie Borat, right?
But you have them there.
Exactly. But yesterday we were talking about this custom that apparently they abandoned, or they are trying to abandon, of kidnapping the brides, right? Can you tell us about how that in Kyrgyzstan? All right, tell us.
Yeah, so in Kyrgyzstan they still do bride kidnapping, mainly on the countryside, and the cities they don't do it anymore. But it's basically you get in a car with a group of friends. One of them has to marry, or like I have to marry, and I will say, catch that girl, and then
they'll kidnap her. They'll really kidnap her.
Kidnap her, and then you drive off. You basically will rape her, and then there's nothing. The family or the girl, once she lost her virginity, she has no chance anymore to remarry to another.
Exactly, she loses her market value, right? Because she's not a virgin, and then the family of the rapist and the family of the girl will negotiate, settle into a marriage.
Yeah, there will be festivities, and It's all
The body.
yeah. It's very
It's
strange for Western norms.
oh yeah, no, it's feminism upside down,
Yes,
right? It's completely upside down.
they are working on it.
Mm-hmm.
How? Yeah, of course, people start to protest against such.
Of course.
But still, it still happens. But not like 100 years ago anymore. But still.
I was reading about Japan, and I asked a friend that from Japan to confirm that, and she confirmed. She said, "Yeah, that's how it is." So in Japan, it used to be very common. It was, I mean, absolutely common for a girl to be riding the metro, and a guy would grope her. Sometimes pretty aggressively. So groping was absolutely normal in the metro, but it became such an embarrassment for the country that in the 80s they did a campaign asking people to stop doing that. And at some point they made it illegal in some places. Illegal, I mean, to the point that the guy may pay a fine or something like that. And there were a lot of campaigns, so now it's very uncommon. But the schoolgirls, and there they wear short skirts. It's very normal to wear short skirts. And then the groping was rampant. And now because so many men were used to that, and they have their fantasies about it, now they have clubs in which when you get into the club, they have a train car inside the club, and they have girls that of course they're paid for that, and they are there, and the guys come in and they grope them. So it's like the Japanese equivalent of the strip clubs in America, right? But in Japan, you get into the club, and then there is a train car inside, and with the noises and all that, and they can grope as much as they want because they are paying for it.
Yeah.
So that's so it's I bet it must be it was an embarrassment, right? And now countries like Kyrgyzstan have to deal with it.
Yes.
I have to.
What's your deal?
Yeah. So after Kyrgyzstan,
Then I cycled the Pamir Highway in Tajikistan. It's the second highest road in the world. So it's like on average at 3,800 meters high altitude. So it's quite beautiful as well. Very cold. I left.
Yeah.
How I started cycling there half of November, so I had nights 1 week minus 20, minus 25.
Wow.
And yes, so it's you have to be prepared.
Yeah. All that was with this bike, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll put some photos of this bike. It's quite impressive. So it's you said that it's handmade, right?
Handmade in Belgium.
In Belgium. So there are still some artists. I call that artists.
Yes.
A guy that builds. Because I think that when a master craftsman is doing his thing, that is art. Because there is a very interesting connection between the artisan and the material, and he's going to transform that material until he's at peace with it, right? Until he feels that okay, now it's right again. And to me, that's indistinguishable from art.
Yes.
The act of doing it. And when I see a bicycle like yours, I look at it as a work of art. So I look at it the same way that I look at a great painting. There is no difference.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice work. You can tell that the welding work is incredibly well done. Everything's seamless, very well painted on top. It's still the original paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
very well put together.
I love it. How you can feel if you cycle, if you sit on it. It's something else than
it feels
Taiwan or Chinese bicycle.
Yeah. And it's custom made, right? So the guy measure
arms,
your legs and arms and all
some on
that.
your head.
He measures. So he measures you and build the bike specifically
Yes.
for you.
It's unique. It's unique
Yeah.
bicycle. There's only one like that.
Hmm. Yeah. Now that's a beautiful thing.
I never had problems with it, so
Mhm.
it's well made.
Mhm.
Experienced guy. He only makes travel bicycles,
Mhm.
so he knows what the bicycle need to go around the world.
What's his name? Let's plug an advertisement for him
Vlerik. It's
now. Vlerik.
Vlerik.
Okay.
So if you put Vlerik
Uh-huh.
Fietsen is bicycles and
Uh-huh.
Flemish.
Uh-huh.
So then you will. But I don't think he has like an English
Uh-huh.
site or.
Doesn't matter. We'll put I'll find him online and I'll
Yes.
put the address to his thing, because this is a gorgeous work.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I bet you had a good lock for it.
Actually not. I just use an ordinary chain
See? Yeah.
with a normal padlock or how do you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I never go away from it. I don't leave it somewhere and go and drink a coffee. It has to be an eyesight or inside somewhere at somebody's house or something.
Uh-huh.
But I never leave it somewhere in the street where I can see.
Yeah. So you don't come back and find just the frame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with the motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to be careful with it.
Of course,
it's not even a lot of money. It's not an expensive bike, but it's very customized. And if someone steals it or damages it, it stops my trip.
yes.
And that is a major upset. You know, you have to now rethink your entire trip or stop it and go back home. Yeah. And I have friends that unfortunately they lost their motorcycle.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just park in front of the restaurant, went in to have lunch, and motorcycle is gone. And that's horrible.
Yeah.
So I use of course, you have the key thing, but then you lock the front. But then I put a disc lock and I put a chain, around that electric pole or something, which looks pretty ugly, but the bike is still with me, and I never got stolen.
How old is the bike?
This bike is 98, so it's 18 years. 18-year-old. I bought her in 2010, so she was already 12 years.
So it's her.
Yeah, in English we refer to boats and motorcycles as she.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my bicycle is a she as well.
Yeah, bicycles too. Yeah. It's very normal in America to say she. And motorcycles have names.
Yeah.
So mine is La Gorda.
La Gorda.
Yeah. Do you know any Spanish?
A few words, but not La Gorda.
Yeah, La Gorda means fat lady.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Do they not say it like to everybody? La Gorda?
No. It's a little bit rough.
Yeah.
You only say that to someone that you like or that is close to you or someone that you dislike.
But in South America, they like more stronger build.
A lot of people like, a lot of people like
more
that.
ass.
Yeah, they like the big asses. Yeah. But so La Gorda, but people don't use that to a stranger. It's a little bit rude, to say that to a stranger.
Yeah.
This is so relaxing. I'm a little. When we finish this, I'm going to be riding to. We are going to Kosovo and then Macedonia, right? Macedonia.
Nice.
Yeah, that will be nice. I hope the weather will help.
Yeah, I hope so too. As you go, you will go through North Montenegro. It's beautiful there. Very wild, a lot of mountains. But you will enjoy if it's not raining too much.
Yeah. This has been very cool. Oh yeah, so you were getting to China, right? So you went to that over that road.
Yeah, the Pamir Highway.
Yeah.
Cold nights. I was in summertime. A lot of cyclists do the Pamir Highway, but I did it in winter time and I didn't saw somebody else. And everybody, all the locals, oh, you're crazy, you're crazy.
Well, they were probably right.
Yeah, it was so it's different. You are on high altitude, so your breathing is totally different than normal. And it's cold. You have to protect your water. Every night I peed in my bottle and put it in my sleeping bag to warm up my feet, and then when it gets cold, you have to take it out again and pour it out. Otherwise, it's solid. And it freezes half an hour. A water bottle, solid.
I noticed camping in the desert. I got used to always having my toothpaste and my water with me inside the bag, and I would get all the clothes that I'm not using. I would put them inside the sleeping bag too, especially around my feet.
Yeah.
So and my jacket on top of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't. If it's cold, you are not supposed to dress like you have to put it on top of you.
Yeah. And I use air mattress. People think air mattress. They think a big, big air mattress. No, I use one of those thermarests.
Like
that.
Body or
No, I have the longer one because I have at home. Back in my storage, I have a short one as well. But the short one, the new one is so better that even though it's a full length mattress, when you roll it and you fold it, it's the same size as the short one. So I thought there is no advantage in bringing the short one. Also, if you have the short one, it at some time in the past it used to be the most compact, but not anymore, right? And the purpose of the mattress is not just to be comfortable. The mattress is separating you from the ground, so it improves your thermal insulation. So you want thermal insulation for your legs as well, So if your feet are on top of the air mattress, they will be warmer. So I think it's a good idea to have the air mattress full length.
Normally I go for a combination of a thin normal mattress, like foam.
Just foam.
Thin, very thin. I put it underneath my tent, and then I use a chest air mattress, and the thin foam mattress protects like punctures or something.
Yes, I use. What I do is I use a house wrap as a liner for the tent. So I fold it so I have like double layer of house wrap, and when I put it on the ground, I use my hands and I just feel it. I just feel the entire thing, searching for. I go slowly, carefully, and I feel the entire surface for sharp things, and I never had a problem like that. And I used to camp in the desert where there's a lot of pointy, things, and no problem. But I like your idea. Put a little bit of a foam as well, because there is this new foam that Thermarest does, that it has in one side, it has a tiny, super thin layer of aluminum.
Aluminum
so to protect, and it's not very easy to puncture. So it has a little bit of foam, a little bit of aluminum. That would be a nice protection. It's not too big. So if you are riding like in a motorcycle or something, it's good. It's a good deal. Or if you don't mind that your backpack will carry that. Sounds like a good deal.
when I started traveling, I was much more heavy. My backpack was, but now because of experience, you know, it's important to know what you need, but it's more important to know what you don't need when you are traveling. So I'm very light now, and I have the same comfort. So yeah, it's you learn every day is a school day.
Yeah,
What they say.
yeah. So you got through that road. We're still stuck on that road. So
Yes.
after that, where were you?
I was in Tajikistan, so yeah, and then I went back to Kyrgyzstan. Then I went to China, to the western part. It's Uyghur people live there. The border, the no man's zone between Kyrgyzstan and China is 140 kilometer. No man's zone. It's the widest border and on the planet. Like it's 140 kilometers you have to cross by bus. How the Chinese government put you in a bus and then you are not supposed to get out. It's 5 hours to cross the border from Kyrgyzstan to China.
Wow.
It's not like normally in Europe you have like 100 meters away from each other.
Yeah.
But Kyrgyzstan, China is because they have the Chinese, the Han Chinese, have troubles with the Uyghur. They are like with the Tibetans. The Chinese try to remove their culture, so the Uyghurs are getting angry and do some terrorist attacks against the Chinese. So they try to seal off that part of China for tourists. And sometimes you can get in. Sometimes if you are lucky, if the situation is a bit calmed down, you can cross. You have to be lucky. But the Uyghur people are really nice, friendly, interesting place. And then I traveled in China, and then I went with a Swiss guy to Laos. We met by accident 3 times in 3 different places on my trip.
Was he traveling by bicycle too?
First by motorbike, but then he sold it in Kazakhstan and he bought a bicycle. So we met in Georgia, in Kazakhstan, and in China. And then we decided to travel together to Laos.
Yeah, I saw in some videos and people telling me too that getting with a motorcycle into China is an absolute pain in the ass. The bureaucracy and the requirements are ridiculous.
Yes.
And so it's possible, but it's possible with a lot of money. Because you need to pay for an escort, military guy, and then that means you need to lodge the motherfucker in a hotel now. And that means you have to stay in a hotel. The entire trip has to be planned day by day.
Yeah.
You have a strict schedule to follow. So everything that we don't like about travel, you have to do to go through China. So that completely discourages it. So I understand the guy getting a bicycle to continue.
Yeah, well, he did it just because in that part of the world, people are much more open if you travel on a more simple way. Because if you drive motorbike, they think you have a lot of money and they react differently.
If they only knew the reality.
yeah. But of course, for them, they don't have anything. So if somebody arrives on a fancy motorbike, they think, oh, he has money.
Yeah.
But on the bicycle, it's totally different.
Yeah.
How people react very differently.
Yes, it is true. That is a certain presumption on that. That is correct. Yeah. In the West as well, if you're traveling by motorcycle, people don't think that you're rich because of the motorcycle, but they think that you're rich because you have the time to do it. So if you are affording to travel for weeks or months in a motorcycle, you must be rich.
Yeah.
Which is also if they just knew the reality.
Yeah, of course.
But Yeah, they presume that. Camping. Um, I use a super small backpack called uh, what's the name of my pack? Ultra Bag. It's the Ultra Pack by WA. It's a French brand. They make backpacks for marathons,
Yeah.
for these ultra marathons that they run in the desert. Like the Marathon des Sables, things like that. So I adopted that solution. But what kind of backpack do you use?
Backpack is the only thing. I don't go for lightweight. I go for bulletproof, and I use Carrymore SFX for special forces because I like to go through the bushes, so it has to be.
It will scratch a lot.
Yes. So I don't need something lightweight. I need something strong.
Strong.
It's a heavy backpack, but it will last for many years. Yeah, and it's green. It's camouflage. Oh, not just khaki green. I like to be neutral color. Color like such. And I go off. Yeah. But all the rest is quite lightweight. All the other equipment I have.
What kind of camping gear, cooking gear do you use?
A billy can. Oh, it's like a pot you can hang on.
And then you make a fire and you use them.
Yeah.
I like the liquid fuel stove. Use alcohol, and I have the regular camping gear that you unfold. The cooking pots and stuff. So sometimes I make a fire and cook something there, and I carry skewers on the motorcycle. On the motorcycle, I have a few skewers, and I have the things to make a rack so I can cook something bigger on that. Because when you are on the motorcycle, then you don't have the weight problem so much.
Yeah, there's also like the knowledge of bushcraft. You can use a hot rock to fry something, or put potato on a stick, or throw it in the hot on the coals, and it tastes wonderful. Much better than cooked in water, like potato cooked in water.
Yeah.
Above a fire, it straight away it has much more.
I like to put onion
Onion
on that, and it becomes soft.
Yeah.
After a while, the onion becomes soft and sweet. It loses the acid.
I always throw it in the hot coals straight away. Tomato, paprika. I throw everything.
I never did tomato like this.
Yeah.
I'll try it next time.
Also potatoes. Just cover them with some hot coals. Wait 15 minutes. I have a beautiful cooked potato.
Cooking a steak on a hot rock. I saw that in video, but I never did it in practice. That is on my to-do list. And sounds like a great idea.
Yes. Also, if you would put a steak on a stick, you would lose a lot of the fat, how it will drip off. But on the hot
rock, it stays there.
And you can even then take a piece of bread or potato and
you can dip. Yeah. Cool.
Yes, that's nice. It's lovely. But of course, it needs some time. You have to make a fire, heat up the rock. Quite a high temperature, and find a good rock. You don't want it to explode in your face.
Yeah. Yes. How do you choose the rock?
It has to be solid, and if it's wet, like in the river, it has a much higher chance of exploding. You need something, a dry granite, or not like sandstone, like a proper dense, flat, so flat as possible
Uh-huh.
rock.
So you need to find something that was dry,
Yes.
ideally.
Oh, not like in the river or something.
Yeah.
Just on the,
Yeah.
Because the water will.
Yeah, it has the rock is porous, so
Yeah.
it has water in it.
So if a rock exploded, it's like not a grenade, but it's quite similar. Pieces fly. They would go through your tent.
Yeah, that can be a bad day.
Yes, or like for your eyes or something.
Yeah.
So always take care if you fry something on the rock.
Camping gear. Do you care to protect against rain, or you just go through? You don't care that much.
I have a waterproof jacket. That's it. I don't care about because these trousers they dry very quickly, and they aren't how some trousers or pants. How do you call it in America? Pants.
Pants or trousers? Yeah.
If they get wet, they start to get to shrub your skin or something. These are wonderful, made in Sweden. They are a bit expensive, but they last a long time, and I like it that way. Because you get hot if you have all the rain gear. You get if you are hiking, you get sweaty, and then I really enjoy that.
What else should I know for my trips?
That depends.
Biking.
Biking.
Yeah. I'm going to do some walking this summer, like El Camino, and maybe this winter I'll do something else. I don't know yet. But El Camino is on the schedule. That I'll do for sure.
From where do you want to set off?
I'll start from the border with France. I'll do the traditional El Camino Francés. So I start from
the Pyrenees.
Yeah, from the Pyrenees. It will be in July. It will be end of June. Yeah, it will be around the end of June. So it's a little early in the season, but not too early. So I shouldn't have to face too much cold.
No.
No, and I want to finish in like 4 or 5 weeks. I want to do it fast. I don't like to be on the same journey for too long now anymore. I did that a bunch of times, a couple times, and I get tired.
Yeah, I crossed the Pyrenees and I left 1st of April, but I still had quite a lot of snow and high altitude. So, but June should be okay. Temperature should be warm.
And I'm enjoying meeting people and talking to them and listening to their stories and all that. And one thing that people don't know, that we know, but people tend to imagine different, is that the road is empty, But the road is very populated. Every trail, every road,
especially the Camino,
El Camino will be busy. El Camino will be a lot of people, and especially because I'll be going faster than most people do. I'll be passing them. That means I'll be meeting a lot more people than if I'm going at a regular speed. But even when I was like walking through the desert, in the West, in America, there was not a single day that I didn't meet someone, and and they offer you food. They want to check if you have water and all that. I met people that were traveling on horses, people backpacking. Of course, a lot of bicyclists. A lot of those. I met people that live in the desert, and they just like to meet the travelers. And I imagine it was like that all the way to China.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course. Oh, it's...
You don't
sometimes you have weeks that you don't see another traveler, but sometimes it's 1 month, like you
Mhm.
pop to each other, and yeah, it's very nice.
Right.
Well, man, that was nice. That was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And thank you. Yesterday was a very, very nice talk too.
Yes, no
And
problem.
and I like that we did that off camera first. I don't like to meet someone and put a camera on their face because we end up talking about things that we need to be relaxed. It needs to be just one to one, and not everything needs to be repeated on the podcast. But I think we cover a lot and we cover very well. I like to show to our viewers and to our listeners the people that they are normal people. They just took very elegant decisions, very 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 good decisions. Like you're not Superman. You're made of the same building blocks as we are. No, but the decisions you took were different, and they matter. So
Yes.
I like to show that, and that means that everybody else can do it.
Definitely. I hope not, but yeah, it's nice. I never regret something in my life. So
And you're in a very beautiful place here that I hope to visit again.
yes, you're more than welcome.
I'll be back. And I was when I got into Montenegro yesterday. I was thinking, no, it's cute, but I don't even see why coming back. But now I do. Today my opinion is different.
Yeah, and there's so much more to see here.
Yeah, you convinced me of that. So thank you so much. It was really a
No
pleasure
worries. No worries.
meeting you, and we'll be returning.
Yeah.
We hope you like this podcast as much as we like to produce it. This has been made possible by the efforts of dozens of volunteers, supporters, partners, and visionaries that are helping us build Voyager's World. Please visit our website, join us for free, and start participating.